All right, now you are on, and this is your eye line right here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'm Janelle Turnier. I'm teaching a 5-6 combo class, and I focus on science content and bring in the ELA standards through science. This lesson was focused mostly on oceanography. We're doing a huge unit on oceanography with 5th and 6th grade. And so the lesson today was focused on coral reefs and ecosystems.
Great. Okay. So going into it, the first question, we want to understand the decisions you made in planning for this lesson and how it fits into the unit and year. How does this lesson connect to and build on students' prior skills and knowledge? What was taught before the lesson and what will come after it?
So prior to starting this lesson today, I began a whole unit on oceanography about a month ago. We started by reading an HM series called Beneath Blue Waters, where students got to go into the deep waters in the vessel called Alvin. And they got to experience what scientists do when they're exploring deep waters. And then we went into the science textbook and read a little bit of what it is to be an oceanographer and what it means to study oceans, what the ocean ecosystem looks like, and things like that. So they have a lot of knowledge about oceans right now. Now we're getting into the kind of more intricate pieces of the ocean. We're looking at different ecosystems, and right now we're focused on coral ecosystems. In order to do that, I have built up their knowledge with close reading strategies, so we're really focused on that right now in our ELA standards. Kids know how to dive into text, and this text that I've chosen is really a lot higher than their grade level. It's probably about a 10th or 11th grade reading level, which usually they struggle with, but right now it's kind of getting towards the middle to end of the school year, and they're better able to focus on these texts. They're able to use vocabulary strategies really well so they can understand what the text is about.
Okay. Is the text used in this lesson part of a sequence of text designed to build skills and knowledge? If so, please give an example of other texts that form this sequence.
This text is in a series that I've built. I use the HM book that we have for 6th grade, and again, I've focused on the Beneath Blue Waters text to kind of engage them. And it is at this text, Beneath Blue Waters, is at a 6th grade reading level, so it was more accessible for them in the beginning of this new unit. And then we went into the science textbook. The science textbook is again a little bit more technical and more dry, not as engaging, but because they have this knowledge of Alvin and the scientists, they were more engaged in learning about what's going on with scientists and how they study oceans. This text that I've chosen for them to read right now is again a really high reading level, but because they have so much knowledge now that I've built up with them, it's very interesting to them. They love reading about coral ecosystems, and then the next thing that we're going to do is watch videos that will kind of build on what they've read about so they can see what it's like under the water and get into the coral ecosystems.
Talk about the standards targeted in the lesson. What did you do to make the lesson reflect the full intent of that standard?
The thing that I really love about Common Core is it provides this really great umbrella that you can stick pretty much anything under. I use the reading informational text standards mainly to build my framework for my lesson. This text is informational text, and in order to get the kids engaged in it, I then have to pull in the vocabulary strategies. So we did a lot of work with language. They have to be able to write and pull from the text and use those words that we talked about. They also have to use their speaking and listening strategies too, and those standards I think are huge in getting them to engage in the text. So I focus mostly on those standards.
Which of the core action indicators do you think this lesson best exemplifies and why?
Well, I actually think it exemplifies all three. I think that this text is very complex and it's also engaging, and it's something that we're going to be reading probably 3 to 5 times total with each session, where they have to dive into the text again. Those text-dependent questions that were built around the lesson are so important to get them engaged and get them to comprehend what the text is about also. And in order to get them engaged in the text, they have to be able to talk about it. Kids who don't understand the text the first time around while reading, hearing other kids talk about the text helps them understand and make sense of it.
We're interested in how the shifts required by the CCSS are being incorporated into your instruction. First question is discuss how this lesson illustrates the shifts required by the CCSS.
Okay, give me a minute for that one.
Okay.
He didn't ask that one last time.
Do you want me to pause it?
Yeah, could you?
Yeah.
Okay, so the shifts are huge in helping me build my lesson. The text is the main focus for me in this lesson, and usually most lessons it's about the text, and choosing a highly complex and still accessible text is important to get the kids engaged. I use that as my main framework for the lesson, and then I go from there. Vocabulary is a huge piece in every lesson that I do. I let the kids drive the vocabulary instruction unless I notice that they're not picking words that I think are important for them to know. And in science, I don't focus on the academic or the content words. I focus more on academic words so that they can take the words that they're learning in science and hopefully apply them in ELA or math or social studies. The writing piece is big also. Right now, we're not really doing a writing lesson so much as I'm helping them express themselves through their writing so they can pull from the text and build answers to a question by using the text.
How did you teach the content of this lesson or the text prior to the CCSS? What is the same and what is different?
I have only been working at the district since they've been using CCSS, so I've only used the CCSS strategies, and I think they're fantastic, so I can't imagine doing anything else.
Student engagement is crucial to the work of the CCSS. We want to understand how you ensured that all students had the opportunity to productively engage in the work of the lesson. How do you support all students in working with grade level text? For example, how do you provide scaffolding for students below grade level so they can read grade level text?
So engaging the students in this text, which again is pretty much 4 grades above their reading level, what I do is I read it to them the first time out loud all the way through without stopping, so they hear it one time without any other interruptions. The most important thing for them to do while I'm reading that very first time is annotating. And what I want them to do when they're annotating is circling words that they don't understand. After that first read, we have a really good discussion about vocabulary words. And then I have them read it again on their own, looking for important information. They read it probably a total of 5 times, and each time we use a different strategy. So they're listening to me read it, they're reading it by themselves, or they're reading with a partner. By the time we're done reading this text and using this text for a lesson, it's going to be a total of 5 to 6 times of reading, and that's given them the opportunity to work with it enough where they can pretty much understand what the gist of it is.
Continuing on that question, how did you create opportunities for students who are advanced to engage more deeply with the grade level or above grade level text?
Again, I think having student conversations is a vital importance of getting kids engaged. My classroom is full of kids who are maybe 1 or 2 grade levels below, but also kids who are 2 to 3 grade levels above in their reading ability. I have them mixed all over the classroom. The kids who are above grade level, I have found have a harder time doing this conversation with other kids. It's harder for them to express what they've learned and what they have access to. But giving them the opportunity to do that has really helped them become more expressive of themselves, and also it's given them a chance to help other kids who may not have access to the text.
How do you know the students were able to successfully respond to the text-dependent questions and tasks with precision?
Again, conversation for my classroom is huge. I have them sitting in groups so that they can have a better conversation with each other. Talking and then sharing whole class lets me check in with kids. I also am able to walk around the room while they're having conversations and kind of stick my nose in and see where they're headed, and maybe help them find what they're looking for and then assimilate everything together.
Did the students acquire the literary skills addressed in the lesson?
Yes, I think they did.
And what do you do for students who do not acquire the literary skills?
Well, I usually, while they're in small groups like this, if I'm noticing a group of students who's struggling, I'll pull them aside to a table and let the kids who are able to do this on their own work on their own. But I haven't really had many times where I've had to do that. When they work together in groups, it's just been hugely successful for me.
Great instructors, Sorry, one more on this one. Which behaviors from core action 3 did the students best exemplify in this lesson, and what actions have you taken as a teacher to make that happen?
We started off the school year in groups, and I've taught them how to communicate with each other and how to express themselves, more of like an accountable talk kind of situation. I don't even need to tell them what to do anymore. We're at a point in the class where they just know. I tell them to go talk about something, and they usually go talk about it. And then I ring the bell, they stop, and then we share and we talk whole class.
Great instructors are continuously learning, and we want to understand what you celebrated in the lesson and what you would improve upon. Reflecting on the lesson, what worked well and what might you do differently?
The things that I love are reading their answers to the text-dependent questions. I'm always a little nervous when I turn it over to them and have them try to explain what they want to write, because I think talking is a little bit harder than writing. So I love that struggle that they show when they're trying to express to me what they found in the text, and then I turn them loose and let them write it down, and then they share what they have written. I'm always completely blown away by what they come up with. Those are the things that I celebrate.
Were there any surprises or unexpected student behaviors or reactions today?
No, I don't think so. Mm-mm.
Anything positive that you want to share that you were surprised they caught on with the lesson, or they seem to be doing very good with the vocabulary?
Yeah, vocabulary to me is a huge piece of Common Core, and I think that when you give them the meaning of the word and they can work with it themselves, and especially when you ask them questions that either word could apply to the answer to the question, I think that I would have liked to have seen more conversation about the words, actually. Something that I would have liked more of. I don't know that they're that comfortable with the words yet, so we'll keep working on that.
You're done.
Okay. Thank you.